Okay, we're on number 3, and I always find these to be nightmarish because there's compute the number of ordered pairs, and they're triples, by the way. I shouldn't say pairs, triples, A, B, and C, such that this holds to be true. And what I want to do is I want to go back to the whiteboard and see if I can write all the ordered pairs down. Before I do that, I want to read it again, non-negative integers. This makes it a lot easier for me. So let's go back to the whiteboard. I'm going to write down what I'm seeing. And what am I seeing over there? I am seeing that there's a root, and it's going to be a to the b power plus c factorial equals 28. All right? Now, one of my big problems here is that I know there's going to be triples that satisfy this, and I don't know what the triples are at this point, but what I want to do is that root really bothers me a great deal. And after the root, then the factorial is going to bother me. So what I want to do is write down sort of what I'm looking at. I'm looking at, some numbers over here, and I'll write them down for you. So I'm going to say, I'm really looking at a to some power b. Let me write this down to a, b, and c. Whoops, sorry about that. Are non-negative. Let me make sure I'm reading that correctly, by the way. I gotta go back and read it to you. It says, compute the number of ordered triples of non-negative integers. What does it mean? If they're non-negative, they're greater than or equal to 0. So they could be 0, and they could be 1, they could be 2, they could be 3. I just don't know what they are yet. C factorial equals 28 squared. Now you might wonder why I did that, and the reason I did that, I think 28 squared is easier for me to handle, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write 28 squared down. I'm going to actually do it. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 and 6 is going to be 22. Now 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 2 is 4, 5. You get 4. You get an 8. You get 784. Let me write that down. A to the b plus c factorial equals 784. So then the question comes is, what are you looking for now? That c factorial still bothers me, by the way. And I'm going to erase this over here. I'm done with that. Again, I can remember that a, b, and c are non-negative, which means they're 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, I'm looking at the c, and there are possibilities for c, by the way. But I'm wondering what's the most c could be, because that's really going to restrict a lot of behavior in the problem. And I'm looking at it, and I could write down, 0 factorial. This is the c's, by the way, and that's going to be 1. 1 factorial, that's 1. 2 factorial, it could be that, by the way. That's going to be 2. 3 factorial, what's that going to be? That's going to be 6. 4 factorial, all possibilities. I'm working my way up to 784, by the way. And then I'm going to say, if it's 4 factorial, that's 24. 5 factorial, let's see, that's 120, right? And 6 factorial, what would that be? Well, it's 600 and 120, that's 720, right? By the way, I think I'm at the end of my rope at this point. So I'm going to say if there are C's that exist, by the way, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got those covered, all right? So I'm going to start with 6 and work my way backwards, all right? And so why is that? They're the easiest numbers for me to deal with. So I'm going to put down 6. So A, B, C, I'm going to say 6. So what would I get over here? I'd get A to the B plus, if it's 6, it's 720. What does it give me? 784. So A to the B, well, it's a tough one, isn't it? Not really, it's 64. Right? I just take, that from both sides, and I start to wonder, what could that be? Well, I'm thinking about numbers that it could be, and I'm going to say zero's out of the question for that. And I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking to myself is, I could say 64 and 1. That works, because 64 to the first power is 64. Then I want to think maybe there's another number. And what other numbers would give me a 64? I'm going to kind of work my way backwards there. And I'm going to say, 8 and 2 would work. Because 8 squared is 64, right? What else would work? 4 cubed would work. And why is that? 4 times 4 is 16, times 4 is 64. Now, I'm trying to think over here. And after 4, I'm kind of working my way down the food chain, by the way. I'm going to say 2 to the 6th power. Let me see if that works. 2 times 2 is 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. That worked. That worked beautifully. Then someone says, what are you going to do next? The 6 is done. I'm done with that. So what I want to do is I want to do the 5. And this gets more difficult for me. So it's going to be a to the b. I'm going to start with 5 now. And maybe there isn't anything that's going to do it for me. Right? I'll still write it down. What's 5? It's 120 equals 784. Now, that's a thinking problem, isn't it? So what do you get? A to the b. And I'm going to take 120 from that. So you can get 664. Boy, that's a problem, isn't it? But I think I know at least one solution over here. It's going to be, the a would be 664, and then you'd get 1 for the power. But I'm wondering if there's something else that would do it. And so I'm going to look at the 664, and I start to realize that I'm going to factor the 664. And the reason I'm looking for some kind of power, I'm going to say 2. That would be 3, 3, 2. And then I could do 2 again, right? And see, that would be 150 and 15, 165, 166, right? This doesn't look promising, by the way. And then I could do 2 again, and that's going to be 83. Now, it's not going to work. I'm going to say it's the only one there. So 6, 6, 4, 1, and 5. So I'm kind of done with that. And now I'm going to go to the next one. All right, so I'm going to the what I call the food chain. All right, let me get my erase rack, 'cause I'm kind of done with these. I always say there's always somebody I'm forgetting at this point when I'm doing these things. And that does happen, by the way. I'm going to erase this over here. By the way, I'm working back in the food chain. I'm at 4 now. The problem with it, the numbers are getting bigger. And so I get a to the b, 4 factorial, whoops, sorry about that, plus 24 equals 784. Again, I'm looking for easy things. A to the b equals 760. So I know one answer there. And again, this is 4. I'd have 760 to the first power. But then I wonder if there's any other integers, and I'm looking at the 760. That doesn't look that bad. 760. 2 goes in that, 350, 380. 2 goes in that, 150, 190. I think you get the idea. It's not productive, though. 2 goes into that 95 times. I think you get the idea. I'm not going to get anything to a power for that. It just doesn't seem reasonable at this point. So I'm gonna say that one's exhausted. All right? When I mean by exhausted, there's not much I can do about that. So let's see if we got, I'm counting them up now. I got, let's see, 664. I got 760. And for the 4, I'm going to go to the next one now. I'm working my way up the food chain. We just did the 4. I have to do 3 factorial now. And the numbers are getting bigger, there's no doubt about it. So you still get a to the b plus 6 equals 784. A to the b, and that's going to be 778. All right, well, I know there's an answer there. It's 778 to the first power, and that's going to be a 3 there. All right, we're working on 3, by the way. Now, again, I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to look at it, but certainly maybe it's almost pointless to do that. 778. Let's do this over here. 2. This goes in 3. That's 17. 2 into 17, 8. 16. Then you get 18. That's 9. I think you get the idea. It almost looks unproductive, though. 389. Now, it's not going. I'm going to say that's it for that one. 7, 7, 8, 1, and 3. I'm going to work my way backwards. And I got to go backwards now, don't I? And what am I going to do now? I got to erase the other things, too. I got to go backwards. This is getting long, isn't it? I'm almost over, though. I just did that. Let's do the 2. What do you get up there? A to the b plus 2 equals 784. A to the b equals 782. Yeah, I think I know that one, too. 782 to the first power, and that would be 2 now. All right? Again, breaking this up, you're certainly not going to see a to the b in that guy. And let's go to 1. And get my eraser out. I just did the 2. Let's try the 1. It's exhausting, there's nothing about it. A to the b plus 1 equals 784. What do you get over there? A to the b equals 783. And I've got another one. I'll put it down for you. 783. 1 and 1. I have one more to go. Let's see if we can do it. I just did that. Let's do the 0 now. So what do you get? A to the b plus 1, I'm doing the 0 now, is 784. Well, I get the same thing. What am I getting over here? 0, 1, 783. All right, I think they want me to count them up though, right? How many are there going to be? And I hate to count, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. My answer is 10. Thank you.